It's been a million years. Not since we recorded. Just a million years of shit has happened, as it kind of does every time. So we're going to go ahead and start out with a little bit of the news that is just kind of entertaining and kind of silly and kind of dumb.
This
Related
is
to
the hardest hitting breaking news you need to hear
oh yeah,
immediately
like
now.
look, if you don't
Affects everyone.
this is really like there's some things that are happening in a place with like missiles or whatever, but we'll get around to that. That's for later.
What are you talking about? That sounds irrelevant.
Generally, yes, yeah. So obviously we're talking about Adi Shankar and how he's going to no. Unfortunately, though, just as a because I might as well since I went there, he has said that he is going to now save the Metal Gear franchise. That is all. Moving on.
Excuse
So, Creator Clash.
Yeah, on to more important topics.
Yeah. So, iDubbbz. iDubbbz.
Who?
Oh, iCux.
Did that guy die? I thought he died.
Well, his virginity died.
What?
Oh, it did.
You don't
It did.
say.
And we've learned this just recently, as a matter of fact, that his
Did the
virginity
chair have a dildo on
died
it?
with Anissa.
Did the chair have a dildo on it?
No. I mean,
She
okay,
actually fucked him.
hold on. We should probably address that also.
I think people care a lot about the fact that she actually fucked him, though.
In more ways than one, actually. You had mentioned a chair. We'll get to that in a moment. So, yeah, she took his V card, and like so many nerdy dudes, he ran with it. And if you've seen any of how she treats him in public, it's quite atrocious. Like she's done a number of interviews, like, oh yeah, like he shits himself. You know, he's got these problems with his cock.
It's true.
And then falling back to what we had just discussed. So, you know, I try as I might to convince him to do pegging. He's just not interested. You know, I did it this one time, and he was like, I don't like this. So
he got pegged.
He did. And you know,
Interesting.
the old iDubbbz. Well, you know, I wouldn't have pegged him for a sub, but you know, I guess she did.
Wow.
So the update is
womp indeed, right?
Indeed. So they have been distanced, personally or professionally. Not 100% sure on how it all went down, but they're not really related to the Creator Clash anymore. Now, there's been some reporting on this, not with any big names, unless, you know, you're an internet person, in which case, you know, some of the talking heads out there have covered it. Dankula, I think, Temple, you know, just the usual. But they were getting 34% for this charity event.
Right.
And
right.
As they've described it as, no. What we do is we enable the people to give to charity. See, they can, but we've got the links on our site. They can just go and give to charity.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the charity event.
Where's the actual charity come in?
Well, from the people that watch and give money to charity of their own volition entirely. Isn't that nice?
See.
Very on the up and up.
So the charity part, where's that happen?
Well, kind of like how police work with firemen. It happens at the police station, not at the fire station. So, like where you'd expect it to happen at the Creator Clash station, it happens at the at the Watcher.
So
station.
the charity that's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
When's that happen?
At some point, in some way.
I see. So the charity.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah, it happens.
The charity,
or it doesn't. You know, one or the other. It's one of those two. It's definitely one of those two. So they've basically.
But that's so. This is the charity that's supposed to happen. That totally happens then. It's the charity, not the scam.
Yeah, that.
Okay, so but the charity then. that happens?
There is charity that happens, yes. Charity does occur in
Okay.
the world, yes. Absolutely. That is a true statement you made, Craig. Yes, there is charity in
Okay,
the
I
world.
see.
All right, great. See, all right, perfect. There's charity in the
Oh
world.
my goodness.
Creator Clash 3 can continue. Oh, sorry. I have some bad news. This has all gone over very poorly. And the most...
It sounds like it should have.
You think?
Oh my goodness.
So the updates from some of the fighters and such are basically like, as of right now, it's been postponed into the, quote, far future. And we've got one or two kind of wishy-washy statements from the people that are now behind it that are basically saying, we don't really know what's going on right now. So, we got that.
Uh-huh.
Good job. Good job. You really pegged that one. You really did there, iDubbbz. You and Anissa just held that one down and showed it who's boss. I'm telling you. So, there's that.
Yeah,
I'm
gathering that this is definitely
of news items that everyone must know. That said, we were talking just a little bit before the show about one of my favorite mutuals that I have been bothering a little. I'm not going to go off the deep end because he is a busy man. He's got stage shows and productions to manage. That was pretty good. I was definitely very circumspect about that. So anyway, one of my favorite mutuals at Wigger, also known as Sam Hyde. We need to get him on the show, folks. If you know him personally, tell him. Come on here. We got.
I laugh with just there, as I'm hoping that someone does, but God damn it.
Well, okay. Other than me, guys, like I said, we are mutuals. But beyond that,
faggot.
Anyway. We have confirmation of Agartha and or New Swabiland. I don't know if you caught this, but about a day ago, we got some mysterious radio waves from underneath Antarctica.
Okay.
I mean, did you catch that? There's not much to it. It's just that's kind of all there is. There's not a lot of data.
No, I haven't had my ear to the ground for that kind of shit.
Yeah. But you know what? It's me. So.
Mysterious radio waves, though, is pretty funny because there are a lot of radio sources out there.
There truly are.
A lot of radio sources. So
true.
It didn't say anything, any of that kind of shit.
No, it's all quite vague, unfortunately. Let me see if they've got a.
It's just gobbledygook. Okay.
Not really. So, all we can say is that Operation High Jump sent 4,700 armed troops to invade Antarctica in 1946, and that happened. But anywho, moving on. There's not a lot there. So let's move right into the. We should probably talk about the 614 insurrection and all the insurrectors insurrectorizing all over the White House. You did catch that one, right? The 613 insurrection, the moment that our nation was crushed under the weight of insurrectors.
Well, weight is part of that.
Well, they're largely fit for senior citizens, which is one of the other things that I've been noticing lately. See, it's been a busy weekend. There was the No Kings thing, which was, of course, financed by...
You see, I refuse. I refuse. I got a reason here.
Mm-hmm.
In the United States, No King's Day is July 4th.
It is.
And Marxists can go and shit in a hat. I'm tired of that. They can take over a different holiday. They can go and fuck off.
Indeed. That's really.
I'm sure Trump's mother was sitting there going, you know what? 79 years later, this man is going to be president during the 250th birthday of the United States military, or United States Army.
Mm-hmm.
And on that day, they're going to be so pissed off. I should just totally make sure that I get fucked on this day so that in 9 months I can have my son on this day.
Or it could be...
I'm sure that was entirely in her plans.
Well, no, it's entirely possible that his uncle with the time machine actually let her know that she just needed to delay it by a few days, when she got into the hospital.
Of
because time machine.
course.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the guy? Or did he? Do you know Ali Alexander or what?
I would hope not. I would sincerely
Yeah.
hope not. Probably John
Yeah.
Titor. A respectable time traveler. We are we support respectable time travelers that are working to stabilize their own timelines here, not that are looking for children to take back with them. Just saying.
That is something that makes it a little bit worse, isn't it? Not satisfied with raping children in this one timeline, Ali Alexander had to travel the multiverse.
He did.
To slake his bloodlust for children's assholes.
Well, I don't think it's a
Oh, my
bloodlust, but I don't
goodness.
think I want to use any more descriptive terms than that. So we'll just.
That's
stay
not as
there.
far as I was going to go with it.
Yep. Same. So we had a. Well, honestly, the whole last week, there's been a lot of protest and violence and whatnot. A lot of flags. Actually, I've seen some interesting ones, and I've seen
No.
the attempt to better
Now, here's
brand
interesting.
many of these.
I was going to bring up is exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
What I thought was really funny was they finally noticed that Americans were pissed off that they were all wearing flags of countries that were not the United States. And so they brought out, finally, a couple of those faded half and half flags.
Mm-hmm. They did. You can still see the folds, mind, but yes, they did.
Right. Now, it's interesting because they learned that those exist. They learned of those from a rally that was thrown by Jewish Americans and Israeli Americans, and also a bunch of Christians, where if you looked at the crowd, you saw some flags of Israel, you saw a fuck ton of United States flags, and then you saw some of these like half and half flags, where the United States flag faded into the Israeli flag. And so whatever company that is apparently also produces United States flags that fade into the Mexican flag.
You can get all sorts of things on Temu.
And those flags were mysteriously just kind of available all of a sudden in bulk.
Mm-hmm.
And better yet, if you looked at, there was some video of the No King's Day where they cracked open boxes of rolled up United States flags. Finally.
Now, that said,
like they managed to get their way there, where what used to
got
just
there.
be 100% Mexican flags, with some Honduran flags, some Venezuelan flags.
And also,
the Venezuelans were really kind of up
and the ever prominent blue
problem.
and white El Salvador flag. Yes, yeah. That El Salvador, the one with Nayib Bukele.
Well, it's interesting because the ones who are here illegally, it'd be really cool to see them sent back to enjoy the hospitality of prisons.
Yeah, it's one of the nicest places in the world now. I don't see why they wouldn't be happy to go back.
Hell, even the inside of the prisons down there, I hear, are about as civilized as the outside, because those motherfuckers have been cracked down on in a way that has made them respect authority, finally.
Yeah, for what it's worth, CCOT is clean. It's perfectly clean, a very modern facility. Doesn't look like the most comfortable of places. I'll be honest with you there.
Well, I'm sure it's not.
But
yeah.
One
thing I think that they're also going to be moving towards there is rehabilitation.
Well, they actually, Bukele's been very specific on that. For the worst of the worst, basically, it's just...
Oh, the worst of the worst, you're going to stay there forever.
Yeah, you're staying here forever, and you're never getting out.
That's where they're going to die.
That's just it. But they have actually, they've integrated some factory things, like training stuff, into some of these...
Yeah, that's what I figured. So the thieves and so on, I think they were going to be on vocational privileges.
I think it was, like, if you've killed somebody... That's it. Sorry, you don't get out. If you killed somebody or raped somebody,
if you're the murderer, you don't get out.
I think it was murder or rape, just as a body.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was. It's like, okay, we're gonna
chairs. Speaking of chairs with an apparatus sticking out of them, I have an idea for how they might get a rapist. All right, I'm gonna table that. We can move forward beyond that joke. I'm not even gonna go there. So anyway,
Anyway, indeed.
beyond the
So
pale man.
we saw the first night of these ice protests in Los Angeles, and it was an absolute shit show. I watched a lot of it go down on a number of live streams, and it was the Floyd riots all over again. It was every bit of that. It was an absolute fucking shit show. LA was looted because if you're not looting stores, then you don't support the immigrants.
Of course,
right? That's how that works. You got to get them new Adidas, got to get them new kicks, or I'm not supporting them immigrants. And if I don't go and pick me up a new Apple phone, from the Apple store, then am I even trying to make life better for these hardworking immigrants? So there was that first night, and then it went, as you might expect, in Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass's L.A. Then Trump was not super pleased with how things went and said, all right, well, we're rolling out the National Guard. And, man, they were upset with that. Like, how dare you? How the fuck dare you tell my National Guard to deal with a problem in my state that I will not? Huh. I may be paraphrasing just a little. But yeah, that's the long and short of it. And so he actually took the president to court on it. And, of course, a local California court.
How did that work out?
Exactly as you would imagine when dealing with a local California court. They agreed with him. And then Trump said, okay, well, I'll be appealing that, obviously. And then once it went to basically any federal court at all, they said, no, Gavin, no, you can't do that. That's not how this works.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. And since we're on the topic, we should probably just kind of hang out here for a little bit and talk about some interesting things, like what we saw show up on that very first day of those ICE riots, and then the following day, but not since.
Interesting. What would it be that showed up?
Pallets, deliveries of pallets.
Oh yeah,
pallets of bricks. Conveniently at places where there's not really any road work or building construction being done, just some bricks. Just here you go, here's some bricks, enjoy.
Yes.
And mind you, these were also at the places of the many and varied riots, interestingly enough, and also at one of the museums in the area, a museum owned by a chief Democrat donor. Interestingly, I'm sure it's just a coincidence that they had them out.
You're talking about Neville Sam here, or
I don't know if I am actually, but like indirectly, yes, but not specifically, because I think this is a different person and organization. Because there's actually kind of a few that have been involved in this nonsense. Let me see here. Oh, and related, I haven't had a chance to go through it, so I'm just going to make mention and include it in the show links. Data Republican has filed through all 990 pages of George Soros's Open Society Foundation tax returns. So there's legitimately too much there to kind of parse for what we do, but it'll be in the in the links below. So just check that out, and then over the coming days, certainly that'll be collated. People will look through that and be able to make some sense of it and see kind of where some of this money's going and all of that. But beyond that, something else that we saw. Well, hold on. Let me get this one piece of data, because we've actually got this the bricks directly related to. No, I'll include a link to the thing here. Does it actually have the specific? Okay. Democratic Party. No. Okay. Well, I'll just throw a link in here, but it's by Judge Janine Fan. So, Los Angeles, California, June 11th, 2025. Recent review of the California Democratic Party's May 2025 expense reports has uncovered a significant and controversial expenditure: the purchase of 200 pallets of construction-grade bricks.
The Democrat Party in California.
Yeah. Notably, this acquisition lacks any associated construction plans or public documentation.
Interesting how that works, isn't it?
Raising questions about its intended use. The absence of a clear purpose for such a substantial purpose has prompted calls for transparency and accountability from both opponents and watchdog organizations.
Yeah, you might wonder what exactly it was they're planning on building.
Yeah, what's your a wall maybe? Surely not. Surely not.
I mean, there is every possibility
that
somebody came to their senses. It didn't happen, mind you.
No.
But there's every possibility.
Yeah. So I should be honest. It was actually it was the lower federal court in California that that said no, you can't deploy the National Guard, and then he took it up to SCOTUS, and I was like, no, he absolutely can. You're not doing your fucking job because not doing your fucking job. And then speaking of people who don't do their job, so let's just say you're a legislator. And one of the president's people, like a secretary of something, Kristi Noem, for instance, not specifically her for any reason, just let's say,
sure,
by chance, you're Kristi Noem and you're having this, meeting where you're discussing
and you're having issues getting your job done.
Yeah, and then some rando 6'5" like 250-pound dude that's not a little twink or nothing, like a pretty big, fairly intimidating guy, gets up and is like, hey, I got questions. You're gonna answer my questions. This is my question. I'm Senator. You're gonna answer my fucking questions. And gets detained, then later released because he was indeed a senator or whatever.
Just asking questions.
But there's a bit of a blow up over that. People were very upset that a sitting legislator would be arrested or taken to the ground or anything. Well, the problem is you can't really charge the fucking podium and expect things to go a-okay.
That guy was such a fucking dipshit. It's so fucking funny. This is great because the thought process here is that the constituents are just going to get us bailed out on this. This is the show we need to put on to get everybody on board. And it's like, well, sadly here, pal, you're not the only one of the Congress critters who's gotten himself arrested recently, and most Americans are kind of fucking done with your shit.
Mm-hmm.
Wishing that more members of Congress would get arrested because this is ridiculous.
Yep, we are all basically incredibly tired of your shit and don't want to deal with it anymore. You're acting like children.
I mean, that's what it boils down to. It really is childish behavior.
On the same note of childish behavior, we should probably step back to California for a moment and talk about old Gavin, because he had to just be himself as he does, and that would be,
yes,
Donald, I see you doing these things, this and that, and just come on and arrest me, man. Just arrest me.
No, the good thing was he said he wanted Homan to arrest him, and the thing is, that's not Homan's job.
Nope.
See, Homan's job is to get rid of illegal aliens and drug criminals who are working with them.
Mm-hmm.
Gavin, unless he's telling us something else he doesn't want us to know, but will tell us anyway.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Gavin's not among those, as far as I understand. So, what exactly is it you want him to do there, Gabby? saying like just arrest me, just arrest me. It's like motherfucker for what? For being annoying? That's not what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, he is annoying, but like he's not that annoying. He's just kind of he's buzzing.
But
buzzing in an ear.
Well, he's very annoying to the point that he will just lie
That's
to people.
true.
Just
Yeah,
flat out lie to people. Like say, Donald Trump didn't call me. He's just a fucking piece of shit liar.
Oh my god, that was
a big
great.
old fucking liar. Like,
So on that note, that was he missed the first call from Trump, and the second call was 16 minutes long. So what exactly was it that he blanked out on? 16 fucking minutes.
Yeah, that's a little bit of time to lose track.
I mean, most people will notice a 16-minute part of their day talking to someone who they don't like.
You'd think that,
especially if it's like a strained conversation. I imagine it was.
You would kind of think so. But no, it
outstanding.
Must have slipped his mind. And here's another one that's directly related to just everything that's been going on. There was a great little video out of an ice action in Omaha. There's a guy by the name of Gary Rower who owns Glen Valley Foods out of Omaha, Nebraska. And he was interviewed. I'll include a link to the interview, of course, or at least the short portion that's posted. And there. And what he says is basically like, oh, yeah, I got here and, ICE asked for this information. I gave it to him. I find out that I've got employees with fake IDs. And so here we are. And it's just a fairly short matter-of-fact interview. The guy's like, yeah, I didn't know. I had these guys here. I've lost some of my employees. Apparently they had fake IDs. And there have been all manner of the usual suspects saying, well, arrest him. Arrest this man. How dare you allow him to employ these people? Like, did you not listen to anything he just fucking said? The guy isn't running a bar. He doesn't have an obligation to check if your ID's fake or not. It's generally going to be pretty assumed that if someone has a name that matches on their ID and a picture, then like, okay, you can work here, whatever.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, that's one of the reasons why the E-Verify.
That was the thing in that too. Thank you, because he was like, I used E-Verify on everyone.
Right. That's one of the reasons why it's so popular. That's the ostensible reason for it to be a thing, is that it's easy to tell who you're allowed to hire, because it does come back on a person who's doing hiring if they can be proved in court to have knowingly, conspired with someone to allow them to work when they're not authorized to. Absolutely. Like that's a big deal, and like part of the idea is that you can use E-Verify and you've dealt with the whole thing.
Yep, you have crossed your T's and dotted your I's and done what you are supposed to do. And surprisingly enough, it's not that hard. You just run each of your employees' checks through there, and you've done your due diligence.
Yeah. So this, there being a problem with that is not so good.
Yeah, not really. And since we are, on the topic, there's another. This happened after our last show. So on that first night, because again, the first night was crazy and everything was going crazy, and they had all their people activated and they were doing all they could. There's a fella that was going out and passing out face shields, actual shields,
yes, this genius
equipment.
Oh god, I'm glad this guy got his ass caught.
Expensive anti-camera masks.
So he handed out a bunch of the bionic masks.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to tell you, so that's the face shield I used in lab for years. By the way.
Oh, interesting.
And well, it's given up by UVEX, or it's made by UVEX. So like Honeywell, and they're really good. It's basically a piece of Lexan. Polycarbonate, that's wrapped. It's molded to the shape of like a face. It's a face mask, made of polycarbonate. It's really good for high impact applications. So,
Mm-hmm.
like getting like a piece of machinery that's flung out of a machine at your face.
So basically
So you can
something along the
imagine that
lines
like
of
a
like
rubber
shooting
bullet.
glasses, basically.
Yeah, so like rubber bullets would be. Yeah, so that was ANSI Z87.1.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the impact rating. That's generic impact rating for like bulletproof glass. Well, not bulletproof, but like shooting glasses, sure. But all those work site glasses you'd use on a construction site for carpentry, etc. Those are all basically covered under ANSI Z87.1. So these UVEX, the bionic shield, face shields, they're really good stuff. Now, when I bought mine ages ago, it was around $40, and that's around the price they are today.
Mm-hmm.
I spot checked that a couple days ago when I saw that they were being handed out like that. But yeah, so that handing out a fuck ton of those, that's not like small change
Mm-mm.
because they're not getting those back. That's a sunk cost
Completely.
in a riot, and that's wild. Like there was hundreds of these masks were handed out,
There were. That is
like
that's quite the
hundred.
outlay.
So hundreds means thousands of dollars to the tune of 40 times the hundreds that were handed out.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking like let's see, what's that put us at? So 100 of them is 4,000, right?
4,400 even. But yeah, let's minimize.
Right.
Call
So
it 40.
so we're basically we're talking. So what I'm getting at for scale here is we're talking about an operation that was on the order of tens of thousands of dollars,
Mm-hmm.
which is chump
For
change to someone like
one piece of kit, and that was just one of the things they were giving out.
right. Yeah. So there's plenty of other shit that was handed out. What I'm getting at here is that that's small potatoes for someone like Neville Singham.
Mm-hmm. And
And this is also we're talking basically about one location. This was actually done over multiple locations around the country.
or even
Um,
specifically California. We're talking about one California location. The
LA.
well, one specific location
One place
in
in LA,
LA,
yes.
even because it was the whole city was 5% of the city was on fire, and when 5% is on fire, you don't say the whole city is on fire. Anyway,
Yeah, dumbass.
so yeah, LA's kind of a big city, and kind of 5% of it was on fire. That said, though, we've got so many interesting things that have come out from this. Like on top of that, where you say that's not a big outlay for a really wealthy person. What else wouldn't be a big outlay?
Right.
About $150 per individual per day, and we've got at least
Right.
one person that's come out. Never minding that we've all, well, maybe not all, but most of us have seen the actual Craigslist ad for rioters
Right.
in the area.
My favorite one was the one where it's like you need to be tough. You need to come out. You need to be a tough dude. It's like okay, buddy.
Hmm.
I hope all the tough dudes show up, and I hope when they do, they're just there to fuck you up.
One hopes. One hopes. But, on top of that, we have this one, a TikToker guy who said that he was offered $150 a day to protest the stuff in LA, and here's the interesting part. They're given specific locations where pallets of bricks and maybe some bottles and some kerosene just happen to be sitting around. For whatever reason, they've been delivered to these locations and they're having protests there. Now, that said, the one specific video I'm referencing here has said that it's satire. But,
yeah, okay.
I mean, honestly,
okay.
The bricks are still there. The flammable materials are still there. We've seen the advertisements. And we've seen the promises from people like George and Alex to throw hundreds of millions of dollars at these issues. So, okay, sure. That one guy wasn't being completely honest. Doesn't change a damn thing. But a fun thing came out just after that out of Compton.
You tell.
Yes, sir. Out of the
Okay.
LBC. And that was, this is a riot-free zone. There will not be riots here.
Yeah, I saw that.
And interestingly enough, there were not.
Fair few there, huh?
Yeah, they basically the Bloods and the Crips were like, this is our home. You don't come into our home. It ends badly for you if you do. And you know what else ends badly? If you spend thousands of dollars on these things and pass them out to people, because one Mr. Alejandro Orellana has been arrested by the FBI as of 3 days ago for distributing a truckload of face shields to anti-remigration rioters. Quotes
Alrighty.
United States Attorney. So they got him. We're seeing a lot of that, where a lot of these people were just able to fall through the cracks and get away. They're not this time. And I'll be honest with you, I'm happy to see it. Now, there's a lot more ICE stuff we could kind of hit. No, we'll get back to it. So, in addition, this over this crazy week, we got some interesting information out of Lockheed Martin and their hiring and their bonuses.
Oh, did we indeed?
Yes.
Turns out they're in some deep shit.
So it would appear that Lockheed Martin wasn't just like,
we
we need to elevate, these classically marginalized this and that. No. It was basically just, look, if they're white, just don't give them the bonus. Figure out whatever you
Weird, isn't it? That's exactly how that went down.
And, I mean, I'm paraphrasing a little, but...
It wasn't just don't give them a bonus. It was don't fucking hire them.
And it was also remove 18 of them from the bonus list and replace them with 18 non-whites.
Which is disgusting.
It is. So I'll give you
It's absolutely fucking disgusting that this was a thought process that was permissible in the company. It was the encouragement that they gave was do not hire them and don't give them bonuses.
Now the best and most perfect aspect of this is the architect of this plan. And of course, as you would expect of such a powerful and thoughtful architect, she also has a powerful and thoughtful name. LaWanda. So, let me tell you a little about how this first played out. I'll be using Christopher Rufo's reporting here and just read directly from the whistleblower. Santiago Bulnes, a vice president who now leads engineering on Lockheed's F-35 program, wrote an email to the whistleblower. I got a call from LaWanda last night regarding diversity stats on CompAdder.
Oh,
Bulnes,
boy.
Who would not respond to a request for comment, said. I wonder why. They took a run at getting your few approved, and we're told that we need to fix it in the box. I asked her to send you the list of diversity names to simplify the task of finding the best in the group. So this is as of December 2022, and senior executive who, Bulnes, told the whistleblower that they need to find people that literally, quote, fit in the box to be given a bonus.
In the box.
And so human resources manager, because the whistleblower wasn't perfect enough at his racism, he gets an email from the human resources manager, saying here more specific, and I will read to you a section of that email. Actions required to take. Maggard, level 2, increase POC 4, recommend decrease non-minority 4. Donnelly, level 2, increase POC 3, decrease non-minority 3. Ward, level 3, increase POC 4, recommended decrease non-minority 4. Wirtz, level 3, increase POC 4, and decrease non-minority 4.
Interesting how it's characterized as required actions and it says recommend, huh?
Well, actions required to take.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking blatant. About as blatant as you can get.
So that's the funny thing. These companies, I mean, you have people that genuinely do try to do the right thing that are involved, and then they're taken advantage of in exactly this way. And what they're told is that this is how equity or equality really is what they're sold on, but this is how equity will come about. And they are lied to. They're just fucking sold a pallet of lies.
Or given just flat out orders. Like, oh,
And
I don't care
well,
what you
no,
fucking
they are sold on the idea that this is going to be how you help people, and it's not. This is not how people get helped.
Nope.
I guess they're told this is exactly how this is how we're going to reach peace in our lifetime, kind of shit. It's like it's not. This is a lie. All it's going to do is cause more strife, more issues.
But don't worry.
Like this is how you ruin a good company.
Well, don't worry.
Absolutely.
Don't worry, Craig. They have internal systems for this where you would go to your ethics board and file a complaint. Well, guess what? Our whistleblower. Well, let's get there. As you know, we'll get there because
Let's get there. Sure.
Mhm.
Let's do.
Oh, you're gonna love this too. You're gonna love this. So after the whistleblower said to LaWanda, "Hey, we should be giving these out based on just their performances," LaWanda said to him, well, not said to him, sent him this
That's
email.
racist, right?
Oh, and I will read it to you. Based on the process that we use, the preference is for you to get there. If you are coming back and saying you can't get there and it's unnatural, then I think that changes the conversation as a business area what risks we are willing to assume. And should we get into a situation where there is legal activity that takes place, then you will be a part of that process, and I don't know how else to break that piece down. We haven't ever been in a situation where we haven't gotten there, and I'll, yes, twice, be transparent. It's just based on the past couple of days. I feel your team has the level of conviction where we're not going to get there based on the behaviors that I've seen or experienced in these past couple of days. So, having dealt with that, the whistleblower's like, okay, obviously, this bitch is a fucking foaming at the mouth madman racist, hates white people with every part of her being, so we need to do the thing that is there for when there's a foaming at the mouth madman racist. So he goes and files an internal ethics complaint. And wouldn't you know it? They didn't give a single fuck, ignored it entirely. He then resigned, and now we know the story.
Yep.
So I'll include a
works.
link as well to the City Journal article, as well as the bits that we were just going over there, so that you can familiarize yourself with anything else that's in there. But yeah, it's
I'm sorry, Lockheed Martin. That's a big fucking negatory on ever working for you.
Little bit.
Gotta say, a lot of people out there who would otherwise consider it, they're not willing to work for racists.
No, it's funny how that works.
And that means that's any kind of racist. They're just not. That's just off the table, man. That is disgusting. Absolutely fucking disgusting shit.
Well, disgusting or no, that's just the law, man. That's just the law. You're a lawbreaker. You are breaking the law, LaWanda. And you're going to go to jail. Actually, she probably won't. But she will probably be sued and lose her job, which gives me some pause.
I mean, it's fucking disgusting behavior. Don't like it. Don't like it at all.
Well, that it is.
It's got to stop.
And, there's something that we've reported on, and that has got to stop. And if you'll believe it, it did. And that happens every now and then. Every now and then, some of our oldest reporting will make its way back around, and something will happen. This one has flown under basically everybody's radar. So there's video that doesn't exist of an event that is described very specifically. An event in Las Vegas at a hotel overlooking a concert. And there is no footage of anything that happened on one floor of that hotel. But wait, weren't all of the officers wearing body cams? Yes. Yes, they were. So where's that video? Who fucking knows? Well, guess what, friends? It's been found. We have 80 minutes. We don't have the initial 4. They have actually been disappeared. No one yet far can find the first 4 minutes of footage when they're first breaching. If it comes up, it'll be here. Promise you. But I'm going to include this with a link to that actual video for everyone to watch. And there's not a lot new there because, we're years out. The narrative's well established. But what you see is what you see. And the guys, they're talking to each other. They're asking questions. Some of them uncomfortable. Like, how did you find him like that? Because, really? You really were walking away from the window holding your .357 Magnum, cocked and locked, with your finger on the boy, and you tripped and fell and booped your head. Did you now? Did you really? Well, it was comped. Ramp. So that's where we stand now. So we've got 80 minutes of video that we have been told by everyone, top to fucking bottom, doesn't exist. Enjoy. Have a look at your leisure, and know that there are people that will be tearing this apart, but we've got it, and it's worth looking into. So, since we're talking about trouble involving these migrants and whatnot, we should probably hop ourselves a little bit across the ocean. I should say, not the board. Silly.
Across the pond.
Yep, the big one. Over to Ireland, where there is a native population, and always has been, of white people. There wasn't anybody before. The only people that have ever lived there are white people. Until these days.
Oh, I heard that they were brown before. I heard they were Palestinian.
Sure. Why not? Why not? So basically, Ireland is they're not having it because they are the indigenous Irish people, and they are literally having their demographics destroyed and replaced. And there is no one that can argue against it, and everyone that does is at best disingenuous, at worst an absolute flat-out liar that hates white people. And unfortunately, it seems that more of the arguments fall into the latter as opposed to the former categorization. So, there's this place called the Larne Leisure Centre in Northern Ireland, which like exactly what it sounds like. A city center kind of thing. You might have concerts there. You might have whatever. And they made use of it, you see, for migrants, as it were. They changed it into a, quote, emergency rest center on Tuesday, 10th of June. Within 5 hours, it was on fire. And I don't really like the destruction of this property, but the people that own it, well, they tacitly endorse its use. The state's not coming in and saying, give us your property, we're going to do this. The state's coming in and saying, we're going to pay you X number of dollars to make use of your property. Well, it's not being used. They have no national loyalty. Many of the property owners aren't even Irish. Why should they? And so they take the money, do the thing. But now it's not running quite.
I'm guessing now they're slightly upset.
Yes. So.
Why would that be?
Well,
they got paid for the use of their building.
Well, they did, and what is it that's been said so many times? Well, they can just call their insurance. You're insured,
Yeah, how
aren't you?
about that?
So,
It's
yeah.
funny, specifically on that topic, one of the things
Mhm.
that has been showing up on signs now that the riots are in full swing is that people don't have the insurance. It turns
Mm.
out
A number of
that's
folks
the
don't.
whole plea to please don't destroy my livelihood.
Hmm.
As it turns out, that plea at some people's places of business is boiled down to we can't afford it if you destroy our company.
Oh, and the funniest part of
We
that, the funniest
yeah.
part of that is every single burned business raises those rates for every uninsured business and for every insured business. So with every
Oh,
act of destruction, the area is further degraded.
well, it's yeah, basically
It's such a spiral. I mean,
very unfortunate.
it really is. It's like, Chaz and Chop. Those areas, they have still not recovered all these years later.
Oh, hold on a second. I was told that was absolutely going to be the easiest thing in the world is to have those places recover.
Well,
You telling me that I was lied to?
it's funny that. Real funny. Oh, here, I found the link.
Well, queer, you might say.
Oh, damn. It was even spicier than I thought. So I found the link to the Compton Declaration,
Yeah,
and I'll just read this out because damn, whew, I love this. Supposedly,
they were
Compton's
kind of
gangbangers
explicit.
declared Compton a riot-free zone. This is the statement. Without exception, violators will be executed on the spot.
Yeah, that's
Woo! That is one way to solve your fucking problems. That will
you
do
know.
it.
I think that if that happens, they should be blasting Vanilla Ice.
Now, let me just check real quick and see if the DC Craigslist ad is still up. No.
Not up.
No, it's still there. I
Oh,
totally figured they'd delete this shit. Okay. So, you know what? Give me just a second. I'm going to archive this because they will.
yeah.
Somebody's probably already got it, but, you know.
Doesn't matter. More copies is more copies.
Well, and it's not necessarily going to be more copies. It's just that I'll have access to. Fuck you, Google. Yes,
Oh
that's a
yeah.
motorcycle. Archived 18 hours ago. Okay. Perfect. All right, let me go ahead and copy that. So I'll throw a link to both the original and the archive so that anybody can look that up, and also so that you'll have the proof, as it were, that this was here at one time. Okay, cool. We got that. And that one, the listing for that one, by the way, seat fillers needed. T Mellon Events is looking for seat fillers and extra provide their time and space to maximize attendance perceptions for an event taking place in Washington, D.C. on June 14th. What happened in, oh, there's a little parade. Yeah.
So I will say this: the parades from the birthday of the military of the U.S. Army.
Yeah.
The parades were fantastic.
Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces.
Um,
It seems pretty reasonable. And one of
I
the
gotta tell
really
you,
interesting
it
part
was
of it,
really good.
well, one of the best things that I've heard is somebody actually ran Trump's speech through some filters, or not some filters, through the algorithms, and 95% of his speech was the Army and praise for the Army. He took about 5% of his words were, oh, it's my birthday too.
I believe that part.
But anyway, what were you saying, sir?
I was saying it was really nice to see all the different eras of the military represented.
That's right. Yeah, that was something interesting. Like they had them all the way back
That was a
to
really cool thing.
like
They
old
had all the way
Navy
back
stuff.
to the colonial uniforms.
Yeah, old Navy colonial stuff. Oh, that's kind of neat. Yeah.
It was really cool. Now, what told myself was, damn, I got to be there in 50 years for the 300th.
Right.
Because holy shit, yeah, I wish I'd been there for this one. That was really cool to watch.
Now that said, let's see here. Somebody put out a There's been this great thread, kind of. There it is. There it is. Found it. So let me go back to. Oh, it is still there. So Keith Edwards, if you're not familiar with who Keith Edwards is, he is a democracy enjoyer and a YouTuber who is always cold, I guess. Anyway, he had a picture. He had a little bit of video, about 20 seconds worth, and says, "This isn't North Korea. This is America, and it's terrifying." The video, in the specific video, which just bravo. It starts off with the army marching band at the front, followed by some infantry dudes, which then zooms in, and you see brown faces and yellowish faces and dark brown faces and pale peach faces. Huh. You see a lot of diversity. Funny enough. So no, it isn't North Korea at all. Not even remotely.
But I was duly informed.
Yeah, right.
That was North Korea.
So anyway, there's this quote retweet thread that's been going on from it, which one of the first that I found is this isn't North Korea, this is India.
Oh yeah, there's I reposted a few of those,
and it's so good. It's the one with the Indians just doing the balls to the wall wacky gymnastics on the bikes.
Yeah, I did. I reposted a few of those myself.
Yeah, that one's great.
This is the one I liked was this isn't North Korea. This is a Pikachu.
That was good. But even better still, because it truly is probably the best military parade in the history of history, is that one's quoted with, "This isn't North Korea. This is Ghana." And it's terrifying. And you know exactly which military parade I'm talking about. The one with the Iron Men's and everything.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so good. With like the APC.
Oh, they should have done the one with the
$1,000 of sheet metal.
Yeah, they should have done the one with Mecha Trump. I bet someone did post that one.
That would be good. That would be solid. Yeah. So it's so funny. It is just so funny.
That's outstanding.
It truly is. Like, as crazy as this weekend has been, there's been a lot of funny stuff. As, you know, as bullshit and as dark as some of this is, we've got, okay. Well, here's a segue. All right, so we have a 6'1", 220-pound, 57-year-old man that has literally pulled a John fucking Wick and disappeared into the fucking ether. Kills a husband, wife, one of them a legislator, the other one working with legislation. Severely wounds the other couple. Now, this fella, he's got 5 kids. He loves his family, loves his job as a mortician, also works at Subway. Yeah.
But
right.
The lore on this guy is very interesting.
It is astoundingly interesting, this man. So let's talk about Vance Bolter. Minnesota gunman who shot 4, killing 2 pro-abortion Democrats, featured prominently in a blog site on the Dakota County Technical College of Rosemont, Minnesota, coinciding with the 4-year term of who? Why, Governor Tim Walz of the Minnesota Regional Workforce Development Board during the time that he was there. Bolter listed as his personal contact information should anyone need to deal with any emergency.
What else was really cool about that was not only did Tim Walz appoint him to a position, he appointed his wife to a position too.
He did, and we'll get to her because the lore on all of this, just all of it, quite something. So if you wanted to reach Vance Bolter, you would email Vance L. Bolter at Andeavor.com. Andeavor being a San Antonio-based oil refinery firm that was purchased in 2018 by Marathon for quite a few billion. And then you would...
For a modest amount.
It is, indeed. And then you would seemingly, go to Lance Bolter's LinkedIn and be like, oh, wow, so he worked there for... No. Never worked there. Not that he talks about. Not at
Well,
all.
to be fair, he didn't talk about a whole lot that
Oh
people are
yeah,
aware of.
he's got quite the background that he does not ever talk about, ever at all, and none of it adds up or makes sense at all. So
So
let's roll through.
I'll posit some theories on this guy
Well, first
before we roll through.
let's hit the high points and then do that.
Okay.
So here's what we know as of today. This is a white nationalist racist. Loves his job working in the Congo, which is, as everyone knows, like 99.999% black, and also in Middle East, which is also not black but brown, where the white nationalists work. Anyway, works as a security guard, also for Tim Waltz, also at 7-Eleven, also loves his job at the morgue, owns his home with his wife and 5 kids, but also rents a room 50 miles away with his best friend who delivers for Papa John's. He kills 2 politicians because, according to his friend, because he voted for Trump after having left the Democrats.
His friend, by the way, looks like he never washes.
His friend looks like the kind of guy that would be comped sushi. That's all I'm saying. There's your throwback. Left a manifesto, left a bunch of flyers, a bunch of No Kings flyers just sitting in the car. Just like a bunch of them, nothing on them, just other than No Kings. He gets in a shootout. This 57-year-old, 220-pound, out-of-shape man gets in a shootout with a cop, overpowers the cop, gets away, is still in hiding, goes home, calls his roommate, and says, "So I did some shit. I gotta go. I'm gonna break out my car window so it looks like it was a thing." Takes another car, another mystery car, and disappears into the fucking ether. Then the wife is arrested with $50,000 in cash, ammo, and guns, 3 passports, and the kids. Along the side of the road where he would have gotten in this other car, they find his cowboy hat and some of his belongings. That's the story as of now. Small update being, the wife is cooperating and has apparently been cooperating the whole time. Okay.
All right.
Sure. Why not?
All right.
So that's where we sit. Now, please add some more to this. I got to know.
Yeah. So the thought process here I have is this guy basically screams organized crime to me.
He glows one way or the
showed
other.
up. Yeah. Well.
It's the question of what color is the light that comes off of him.
Oh, I'm sure some of it's quite green.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy.
We won't call him an operative. Cough.
Yeah, not yet. This wise guy. His appointment was for the Minnesota African something of union or whatever, basically MAU, and and if you're aware of shit in Africa, Mau Mau is a group that is very happy to kill people. And
There's kind of a couple of those in that vicinity.
You can enjoy the irony there for how it goes. But the fact is that he was working with these well, now we would say they're illegal aliens because the process that brought them in was illegal. But at the time, Biden migrant communities that were shoehorned into different places and foisted upon different states to support. So he was appointed by Tim Walz to support these Africans in Minnesota. And I don't know if you're aware of the Somali community, which is that's the Mau Mau bit. That's just kind of like whoosh, right over the top of people's heads.
Yeah, there's a bit of a community in Minnesota, believe it or not.
Yeah, so the Somalis up there, if anybody is blissfully ignorant of it, they have a horrible organized crime issue that they pose upon the local community up there, local domestic community of Americans, not of Somali foreign nationals.
Of course.
So, So it's an interesting thing that he was so heavily involved in that, and then he also happens to be the guy who takes out the Democrats that voted against their interests. And the fact that he was able to show up in a full Leo uniform, full police uniform, in a police SUV, that screams to me that he
And
had
a
help
latex
of a
mask.
nature. Right, and this all screams to me that he had help of a nature exceeding that of standard criminality. That this is organized crime made manifest. Uh,
Organized in some way by someone. What
well,
exactly
it's
that is?
I'd say that this
Mystery.
is I'm gonna go ahead and hypothesize that he was aided by the community he was previously aiding to be able to take out someone.
Maybe.
Um,
Now that said,
I'm gonna go ahead and hypothesize that out loud because that needs to be fucking said.
not fair.
Um,
And
these people,
that's a
these
possibility.
motherfuckers, these motherfuckers were brought into this country, and then they started scamming us left and right. And then when they finally get fucking cut off, when they are told no, that you're not allowed to do healthcare scams anymore, they come in and they murk the people that voted against it. I think that's what happened, and I think that it is silly to ignore that possibility. I hope that's not what happened. I hope it was just one guy acting on his own. I
Well,
don't think that's the case.
well, I have more information for you.
Oh, I'm
And that,
sure it's going to make me feel all kinds
oh
of
yeah,
rainbows and puppies
warm
happy.
and fuzzy jumblies in your tumblies. So, inside of a 4-hour window beginning at roughly 10 a.m. on a Saturday,
Uh-huh.
the wife goes to the bank and withdraws
Oh, she emptied it.
$50,000 of cash
Yeah.
on a Saturday
Yeah.
at a bank at 10 in the morning. On a Saturday, again, at a bank,
Well,
50,000 in
again,
cash. Good fucking luck. Good fucking
banks are
luck.
typically open.
They are.
Banks are typically open on weekends,
Good
on
luck cleaning out your
Saturdays.
account.
On Saturdays from around
Oh yeah,
9
no, they're often
a.m.
open
to
until
around
about
noon.
noon if they're going to be open.
Yeah.
That is a thing.
Now, like you said, good luck clearing your account.
Ever, with any bank, ever, all at once, because they don't like that
Well,
shit.
no.
No, they don't
You
like
can
that
do
shit. They do not. That's true.
you can do that, but usually,
They're going
well,
to
here's the
fight you.
thing. No. It's worse than that. So here's the deal with banks, and
Mm-hmm.
BAFA is, of course, Bank of America is the one that fucked over American consumers because of this specifically. But because we had the run of the banks in the 1920s, and we had the what the fuck's that one from the 2008 crash,
The housing
Bank of
crisis.
America, yeah, Bank of America got to
Oh yeah, and
further.
TD&E.
But we had
Yeah.
so we had this thing back in the 20s. The result of Black Friday was that you're not allowed to just pull money from the bank anymore. There's a limit to it. In the 50s, there was another change to the limit. But basically, after the 2008 one, Bank of America got the United States government to set it to around $3,000. So basically, if you wanted to pull any more than $3,000 out of the bank, Bank of America, because of the contract that you signed and the law of the land, you're not allowed to sue them to get more of your money out in one sitting. They're allowed to tell you for $3,000 to fuck off for like a month.
Yeah.
It's also why, by the way, that's also why automated teller machines, ATMs, that's why they have a $400 a day limit. So if you wanted to get all your money out of the bank, in theory, you can get about $3,400 out of the bank in one sitting with no questions asked, but then they'd start having questions for you.
Oh yeah.
If you want to close your account, you are entitled to do that, but the process to do so begins earlier. So if you go to a bank and you get $50,000 out of the bank right away with no questions asked, and this is the first you notified them of it, as in this is the first time they heard that you wanted all your money, and you show up and you say, I want my money now, and you get $50,000 out in cash, that is unusual.
Highly.
Just wanted to go ahead and frame the reason why it is so unusual.
Yeah.
But that's exactly the issue there, is that a bank is entitled to tell you to fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
And like they don't have to care if you have extenuating circumstances. They just do not care.
Yeah. And
so if
also,
you show up and you get $50,000 at one sitting, that is extremely suspect.
yes.
How
Highly.
did you get that?
And how did your bank let that fly?
This is why I say organized crime.
Possible.
By the way,
possible. Yeah.
this is one of the reasons. This is a big one for why I think it's organized crime.
And the part that I'm about to drop next doesn't change that in the least.
It's probably not going to help.
It does not. So, there was a man who went to these places in full
Was it
police gear.
Nantucket?
Hmm. No, it wasn't. No, no, well, the same thing, same everything.
There
Same
once was a
Minnesota.
man from Nantucket.
We don't know where he's from, actually. Interestingly, because well, it'll all be clear momentarily. So we have
Who shat in the
pictures
world's
from
biggest
like
bucket.
a ring camera or something of the actual guy at the door of one of these places, and you can look at this guy, and it's possible that this is a 250-pound man if he's 6'9" and and kind of ripped, but probably not. Probably more a regular kind of size guy, and probably not super duper tall because there's a bit of an angle on where the thing's coming from, and you can look at where the handle is on the door, and handle comes kind of high on his chest. If I'm being entirely honest with you.
All right. So standard doors are about 3.5 feet up from the ground.
Mm-hmm. So, with the door handle being at about nipple level, it looks like from the video.
That's a short king.
Yeah, that's not a tall dude. So anyway,
that's a Smurf.
It is. So that's.
Is it possible that it's the angle?
Well,
or is it? Now here's another thing. There are doors that have what might look like a doorknob that sits quite high.
In this case, it's a latch where you can see the brass and then the actual metal curved kind of like half circle.
I mean, it's possible the door was put on upside down by a dipshit.
Possible.
I can appreciate that there's good, competent people in carpentry, but
it's possible,
when it comes to construction, if you're hiring illegals,
we've all seen some of those videos of the work that illegals are doing in houses, and it could happen. Generally,
what I like is that on that topic, as an aside, what I really like about the argument there is that this country was built by illegals somehow, and not a bunch of Americans, because illegals are doing shit work today. And therefore, we should appreciate the shit work they do today and not harken back to our thoughts of the American ideal of work that was done 50 years ago, which still lasted until today.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, I should be expected to just shut up and take it when they do terrible work for twice the price, because the contractor they work for takes the top off of the entire contract. Like, you know what, motherfucker? How about I will absolutely be putting inspectors on your ass and just fucking sue you into the dirt if you don't fucking hire some fucking Americans.
Yep.
That's what people should be doing. Is they should be going after these contractors who are just shortchanging them on fucking everything. Look, it's not a bad thing to be a contractor. It's not, if you're going to be doing good management and get people to build quality houses, that's all people want. But if you're going to screw them and then just tank the reputation of the industry, you absolutely deserve to be characterized as the piece of shit you are.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah. So
pulling back to me aside.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Vance. So as of 2022, he is registered as a 6'1" man that weighs 220 pounds. I will say that in his 2022 picture, he looks thinner than he does in his most recent pictures. It looks like he's probably put on weight. Don't know how much, but he looks a little thicker than he did back then. Now, with that said, there is a man who has, and when looking at it with the door open, no, that handle is a little above his nipple. So there's that. And then you have a complete side profile of a man in a mask, to be fair, a full face mask with no double chin. Not even one really visible through the mask.
Okay.
And, well, Vance is a big boy, and like many big boys, he's got two chins. And he's thick as fuck. And we see kind of an ordinary build of a man at this door. A bit of a short stack. Right? Just by the look of it. Who doesn't really look like he weighs 220 pounds. So, what the fuck
So what
is
you're
going
saying
on?
basically is that
We've
it
got more
seems like more than
questions
one
than
person's
answers.
involved,
Looks like it. And
and
who?
that it's
Who?
possible that his wife dropped him off and picked someone else up.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. What did I say out loud? Oops.
Oopsies poopsies. But yeah, what are we
Those are
looking
those are
at?
those inside thoughts that were supposed to stay on the inside, but then became the outside thoughts on the outside.
Yeah. It makes for some interesting questions. At this point, those questions aren't uncomfortable, other than his very direct
Well, other than
connections
the
to Tim
deaths.
Waltz. But we'll see just how uncomfortable those questions get in the coming days. And as a quick aside, to harken back to a previous topic we've been speaking on, and to tie that in directly with uncomfortable questions, well, as we had discussed previously, there was the one agitator that was out handing out expensive items at the LA riots. Well, there were
Yeah.
others also that were, handing out things. One of them was arrested, one of those agitators at the LA riots, handing out phones and cash, actually. Turned out to be an FBI agent working in the Los Angeles field office. How about that? We live
Well, I
in
mean, if they're handing out
interesting
phones and
times.
cash,
Yeah.
if they're handing out phones and cash, my guess is that they are paying people to be informants. That they're trying to get intel on the ground.
Presumably. Well,
Presumably. Now,
I
if they're
shouldn't say
arrested,
presumably. I should say if we're going to read this in the kindest of fashions, that
no,
would
what
be
I'm
why.
thinking here is that now
If
here's where it gets
if we're going to
interesting
give them
is
all the benefit of the doubt, that's what we'll say.
well, let's just say it gets more interesting here. If this person was arrested, charged, and so on, and the DOJ didn't come in and say, yeah, he's one of ours, they hand him over, then it's possible the DOJ was happy that a rat was caught
Oh, and we've got an update. Vance
because that
Bolter
could have
has
been a
been taken into
CCP agent.
custody
Oh no
as of
shit!
1 hour ago,
Oh no
as of
shit! Good,
recording. Yeah. So
good.
maybe we'll get some answers. I have a feeling we're not going to.
What
But
about all his buddies?
exactly. And the wife, well, she's helping and cooperating,
Well,
even
good.
though she
I'm
whatever.
sure she's pissed. I'm sure she's really pissed. Probably that she can get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
My guess is that she's concerned right now for the kids and is willing to throw him as far into the bus as he wants to crawl.
Who even knows? Who even knows?
Well, that's just mama bear energy right there. My guess is that he also somehow convinced her this was some sort of public good that was going to make the kids have a brighter future. I am sorry to be a bearer of bad news there, Mr. Bolter. Uh, no.
Yeah. So there we go. Your update, which I wasn't expecting that. So yeah,
Yeah, that's
it'll
pretty
be
quick. That's
fascinating
great.
to see how this plays out and what other background information can be dug up too.
Sure, this guy's going to be a smug shit, too. That's going to be one of those.
Probably.
That's got to be a public trial, is what it's got to be.
Oh,
That's that
definitely.
is that is George Floyd level domestic unrest possibilities sitting there. Because people are kind of having enough of this shit, and if they're going to come out, this motherfucker's going to come out and shoot that woman, cold blood dead, and then have some smirk on as he goes to trial because he knows he's not going to get put away forever. It's like, nah, motherfucker. Everyone needs to see you break down in court and cry while you're
That'd be
getting
helpful.
questioned. Otherwise, I gotta tell you, like, people aren't putting up with this shit in rural areas and small town areas in suburbia. It's over. The worst that the No Kings protest was around these parts, memory serves, is probably around like 30 old grandmas waving some flag, feeling important again.
Speaking
It
of,
wasn't.
have you seen all the videos of these protests?
Yeah,
Man, I'm telling you, they
I'm
really
glad that
rolled out the
the
wheelchairs and the
geriatrics are feeling
walkers.
great.
I'm
I'm
telling
glad
you,
they're feeling important.
it's
Um,
so bizarre to see so many olds doing something.
Oh, they're
So
getting outside.
I guess they're enjoying the summer. There are no King's
I'm
summer.
sure. I'm sure that they were enticed to do it as a day activity on the chalkboard, on the corkboard, and that they were promised they would get to have something. They had their juice boxes and crackers at noon, and they'd be able to get home by the time for their shows to come on around 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's all patronizing and bizarre, but yeah, it's the bright side was these motherfuckers have been getting their message that they show up, especially here in Texas and Florida. The message is that we sent out to these people who are eyeing our locations for a place to make unrest.
If we're talking about messages in Florida, we should probably mention one very specific.
That's what I'm getting. Brevard County.
Yeah.
Yes, and Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
Now that we would kill them graveyard dead. Yes. That's the thing in our state. We learned from last time, especially with Miami, Jacksonville, Orlando, and Tallahassee. We said we figured out, they're going to try and surround cars and beat on them, and we said, well, bullshit. You have castle doctrine. You have the right to defend yourself, and your car is like your house. If they come after you in your car, you have every fucking right, not just to shoot them, but to drive their asses over. Get yourself out of harm's way. You have no business being a victim in your own vehicle here in Florida. I would say here in the United States, but I wish that was the case.
Yeah.
Texas, very much the same. Governor Abbott and Governor DeSantis are on the same page on this one, and that's perfect. Show up here and beat on cars and get run over. In fact, another little segue for you, that happened. But just
Only
today or
just
yesterday?
today,
Yesterday.
as a matter of fact.
Just today. Yeah, that happened. I don't know where the location was, but it didn't really matter because the principle is the same.
Oh, no worries. I've actually
I've
got it for you right here, as well as with
got
the
details?
video. So I'll include that below. Point 1. So
good.
It was at the one of the No Kings riots in Riverside, California.
Okay, so it was California. That's interesting.
Looks like. Let me see here.
I mean, again, I don't like the fact that people are getting run over.
No, but
I don't like the fact that someone's getting trapped in their own car. I like that part less.
Well, exactly that. But on top of that, too, you could.
I mean, I'm not going to cheer on the loss of life here.
I'm just going. I'm going full throttle with this next one, and I'm just going to say that this subject, it's a real challenger for people, and
boy.
Maybe we need to go out in the fields here and discuss something that's been on the back burner for a while. Okay, that was so much fun. Anyway, but yeah, we should probably talk about James Fields, because the truth of it is you've got a guy that's trying to get home based on all the information that we have. We have no testimony otherwise, other than people outside of his car who we now know one person pointed an AR at the man, and then he backed up his car away from that person, and then his car got all smashed up by some people. And once it got smashed up, he stopped backing away and went forwards. And he did not get away. And things went very poorly for him. And he is in jail today. 419-year sentence. But at the No Kings rally, as of right now, the driver, apparently they are, from what I understand, they are actually trying to charge the driver with homicide at this time. I don't have any other updates than that. And I think that the driver should get away, because also, what law just got passed?
No.
You didn't hear about that one, right?
Go ahead. Well, you're going to inform the audience anyway, right?
Okay. Now, was it out of Texas? Or was that Florida? Well, either way. As of now, if you get in this situation, I'll find out exactly. Here, let's see here.
It's been a law in Florida that you can run over people who are beating on your car. That's been law since like 2020, 2021.
Yeah, okay. As of 2021, Florida drivers can run over protesters. Yes. They can end up facing a civil lawsuit,
Oh
but
yeah,
it is
you
considered.
can go carpooling, man. If some motherfucker in a mask is pointing a gun at you in your car, not only can you point your gun back at them, but if they're in front of you, you get to run them right over. It is against the law to trap someone in their car like that in this state.
Oh, but yeah, DeSantis
Period.
made the statement basically saying,
Yeah,
you're good.
go carpooling.
Go for it. Fuck them.
You get 2 points if you get twice the pins. Just go for it.
And okay, I guess not. I thought that there was a new law that somebody had put through as well, but I can't.
Now,
If I can get that, I'll include a link to it. But I think that another state actually made that legal.
oh, it was our good friend Bats, Oklahoma.
Oh, thank you, Pats. Yeah, okay. So there you go. Yeah, in Oklahoma now, that is all. It is legal to defend yourself
I
while you're in a
told
car.
him. I told him that a low score pays for the beers.
Well, I guess
Yeah,
all I can say about that is,
here's the deal: is you don't
Oklahoma.
go out of your way to find a protest and find people to run over. That's insanity.
Yeah, I mean,
But
think about all the
if
damage
you
that's going to
are
do to your
even
car.
if you even if you don't change your day, but if you change your day, like, and you're trying to avoid this shit, and they surround your ass anyway, the fuck are you supposed to do? You're in harm's way. Get out. Like, don't get out of your car. Get out of harm's way, and that means put your foot on the fucking pedal and get out of there.
Truly, truly.
These people mean you harm. Get the fuck away from them.
And completely related, but much more innocently hilarious, is as you might imagine, they are tearing down statues because
Of course.
of course. But the best part is there's one in particular in L.A. that they were tearing down. Oh, what was that? What was
Oh
it that
boy.
guy did? Did he like free a bunch
How
of?
about the one who pointed a gun at a pregnant woman?
Oh no, not that one. No, that one's still up. That one's doing
Oh,
just fine.
okay.
Uh,
Because I heard some of those statues might be coming down.
that would be funny. That would be very, very funny.
I heard some of those statues were in danger of no longer being permissible.
I got no issue with
Finally,
that because
yeah.
that's not even history. That's just media lies. So whatever. I will say though, I think New York should keep the one that they've got up as their icon of the city. The that overweight black woman that utterly doesn't care about anything with the disheveled hair and the sweatpants and everything. It's like,
Oh my!
what a
I feel
perfect
terrible for the black women who
image.
go by that, and I've seen videos of several of them. I feel terrible because, like, they go by that and they see that, and it's like, well, who the fuck is that for?
Yep,
And I just, there's no argument that you can give to make it okay. Like, it's really disgusting.
it is. It is the most perfect Moquisha I have ever seen. It could be.
Yeah, but
She could be Sean Day.
well, I mean,
She
it's
could
it's like
be
it's like if they
Shaquille.
decided to, it's like if they put up a fucking a statue of I don't know, some Jewish man, and they called him like Shlomo McLeibowitz or whatever. Or Julie McJustine, and it was just like a Jewish guy, and he had like a pallet of gold, and
Oh, so
a
basically,
kid
like
with
if
a
they made
bleeding neck,
a bust of Shmuley.
and like a kid with a bleeding neck, and a cheapest Dixie cup you can find underneath it to catch it, while another kid was drinking from it.
So
It's
Shmuley,
just
basically.
it's. I knew you were gonna do that. but yeah, it's. But yeah, you get what I mean. You know what I mean.
yeah, Shmuley. Right.
It's a horrible caricature, and it's incredibly it's the opposite of empowering. It's incredibly what the hell is it?
Degrading
Demoralizing,
and yeah, demoralizing too.
degrading, and demoralizing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Side
just
note: if you want to get your
remind the world
crucifix
of.
dildo, hit up Rabbi Shmuley. Not joking. Actually, I am.
Oh
His daughter
God.
sells them. Anyway. Go ahead.
Ugh. So like it's just a horrible representation, and to have that thrust in your face as a I'm guessing as a black woman would be really infuriating.
You could only imagine.
And
It's
like I said,
such
if you had
such a
Buster Schmooly hanging out in front of the house every day,
yeah.
I'd be pissed off. I'd be really annoyed. And it's crazy that that is something that was permitted in general. I mean, I get like maybe they had someone who was doing that as a project, and it's like, hey man, representation or whatever. Okay, fine, whatever. But when someone shows up upset about it, you can't really tell them, oh, it's just your fault for not understanding the art. It's just that literacy argument all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
There
incredibly
is
dumb.
it's astounding amongst the media appreciators how much
Right.
media literacy is actually lacking. That's all I'm gonna say. They are not
Yeah.
uh the irony is so heavy that it weighs me down to the ground. But anyway, on that. So let's take that weight off. Let's get some good news in here, and let's do that. So we've
Let's do
actually got
that.
something from yesterday or the day before, anyway, out of our man RFK, who has
All right.
said just I'll quote the man himself and throw a link to a little video here. Is and of course, by the by, as we record this very moment, the Bilderberg Group is meeting in, I believe, Switzerland at a hotel that they
All right.
bought all of and closed off everything, so it's a lot harder to see who's showing up this year at the Bilderberg Group. Anywho, their
Okay.
scheme, which they call, and I'm quoting from Robert Kennedy here, their scheme, which they call the Great Reset, will drain whatever's left in your bank account and strip mine the beleaguered middle class of its remaining equity. During COVID, the WEF actually dictated the lockdowns that shifted $4 trillion upwards to this new oligarchy of corporate billionaires. The bankers, the investment houses, scooped up our homes, advertising that you will own nothing and be happy.
So
They have a plan, but my plan is to
BlackRock,
stop them.
Vanguard.
Mm-hmm. All the usual
Well,
suspects.
now I gotta say, there was a Kennedy who said we're gonna stop them before
Yeah, he went down to
that
Dallas, didn't he?
that he would
He
destroy
had a really
something and
nice.
scatter it to the wind or
He had an
whatever, and
awesome car, like a convertible, didn't he? Yeah, he had a
something like
really cool
that.
convertible. I think it was a Lincoln Town Car. Yeah, nice car. He was driving it down in Dallas, and it was like a real windy day. Something blew into his face or something like that.
Yeah, there's something like that.
Yeah,
And there might have been some reading material involved.
yeah, might have been some
So
Cubans, at least according to this recent CIA information. Right? You know,
yeah, so that's kind of concerning that another Kennedy might be trying to do something like that.
it
Don't
is
don't necessarily
truly,
like it.
but where we are
He's
now,
he's a
there's a lot
he's
of
a well-intentioned, good-meaning guy, and I'm hoping that history
mm,
refuses to repeat itself in this case.
well, it seems in some ways that we do have some small blessings on some of the genuinely wholesome people in our positions of leadership. That said, genuinely wholesome is an entirely relative term to politicians. Okay? Let me just get that out of the way, out
Yeah.
the gate, because wholesome and politicians is not, well, those are mutually
Well, come on
exclusive
now. They can
terms.
have different kinds of holes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they can be quite holy. They can be quite holy. But anyway, understanding the relativity of our terminology here, it seems like the ones that are trying to do good are having more luck than they ever had. Now, I don't know if this has got to do with just some of the early moves that were done to, defund USAID or anything else, or
I have a
if it's
feeling that that's a part of it.
oh, it most certainly is, or if it's
That's,
something a little bit more. where for some reason, Donald felt the need to look over at that sign at that moment.
Right.
Or any of the others of there's been a
I am a religious Jew, and I am faithful in that respect. But I'm also a pragmatic person.
Sure.
Who's got more than two brain cells to rub together. There's the whole idea that God works through us in mysterious ways and so on, but I'm not going to go ahead and start praising flying nuns here.
Well, I am an openly not faithful person, but, I will admit that interesting things happen. But then again, I'm also
things do happen, yes.
not a standard not faithful person, so that's another thing.
Well, you're just weird.
I am. I most certainly am. I am pleased to admit. Good old Gnostic atheism. Love it or leave it. Or have no idea what the fuck I'm even talking about. Which is entirely possible, too. So, oh man, where do we go from here? There's so much that's been going on. How about a little bit more good news?
Good news is good.
Some good news to temper some otherwise bad news. But you already knew the bad news, so let's temper it a little, make it a little better. So, as we all know, and we reported on this, England and Ireland have some of the most restrictive hate speech laws in existence. And
that's just anti-speech laws. I think that,
Yeah, to put it in the simplest of terms.
I think they're anti-human rights laws is what they are.
They really are, because it's just a matter of who's going to enforce it as to what speech is hate speech, So, that being said, the U.S. State Department has issued this statement out of the Bureau for Democracy, Human Rights, and Labor. The European Union is threatening legal action against Ireland if it does not adopt the speech rules designed by bureaucrats in Brussels, even after the Irish government dropped such legislation last year due to lack of democratic consensus. The United States is deeply committed to supporting freedom of expression and national sovereignty. We support the Irish people and our shared commitment to fundamental freedoms. These are the statements that should have always been coming out of our institutions. Yeah. All of our lives. How sad it is that we're really only seeing them again now. I remember when I was a kid hearing statements like this. Obviously not about Ireland, but, maybe about Russia or about Azerbaijan or fucking, or also maybe about Serbia. Cough bomb will deliver bejeepers out of those forces. Cough. Bill, go fuck yourself. Anyway, forever wars. On that note, good news for someone.
Good news
for someone.
Oh. Why you do this to me? It's a roller coaster of emotions.
I love it. So anyway, as we all know, the Army is modernizing and getting up to speed and getting everything working well and rightly and all of that. Well, of course, in any kind of modernization effort, you're going to want the newest technologies and leaders of those new technologies. Well, good news, friends. We got folks from Meta, we got folks from Palantir, and we've got folks from OpenAI that have been brought on as lieutenant colonels to be part-time advisors for the United States Armed Forces. Out of task and purpose, Army brings in big tech executives as lieutenant colonels. Army said the new senior officials, including Meta's Andrew Bosworth, Palantir's Shyam Sankar, will attend a 6-week course at Fort Benning and be required to pass Army physical training and marksmanship tests. Okay.
I thought this was supposed to be good news.
For someone.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So, the Army calls the program to recruit Silicon Valley executives Detachment 201, the Army Executives Innovation Corps. To be fair, it is necessary in the world of today. I don't like it. Period. That's it. That's it. But yes, we do need
The
these
and.
things, unfucking fortunately, to live in the world of today, because as we've seen from the goddamn hellscape that is the Ukrainian battlefield, modern problems have modern solutions, and if we aren't addressing them as such, we will be getting left behind at best. And getting our boys killed by drones everywhere at worst. So, is what it is, I guess.
I still fail to see how bringing people from Meta into the military is a good idea.
Well, don't you know,
But I am slightly
Mark
biased there.
Zuckerberg is, he's all-American now. He's an all-American cyborg lizard, 100%
Yeah, I
American
totally believe
reptile.
that.
Okay,
It's
so
fucking
that's a
infuriating.
well, no. Let's just do one more uncomfortable silent second. All right, cool. There we go. That is adequate uncomfortability.
Ugh.
So,
Fucking. It's like fucking. It's slimy. You know. It's like.
but you know what?
It's like
You know what
dealing with
else
a
is
used
slimy?
car salesman.
I'm gonna give you some nice slime here. Like we're watching Nickelodeon and
That's not a way to sell it.
hey, I am doing a
I'm gonna give you
throwback to
some
the.
nice sleaze.
I said slime.
I'm gonna
That's why
I'm gonna give you a reach around with this fucking.
well, minus the reach
Oh my
around.
god.
Actually, you will love this. This is
That's a
so
better way to
good.
sell it.
This
There you
is so
go.
good, and it's happened a couple of times. So there
This
was
is
a
so great. You're gonna be asking for it with the clothes you're wearing. Let me guarantee for you.
Oh yeah, you shouldn't have gone out wearing those clothes. I'm telling you, you shouldn't have. Sorry, your fault. Anyway. Anyway, so out of Los Angeles, we have a brave Samaritan just doing God's work out there. What he was doing, he made a big order, got a whole bunch of stickers to go out and show his support for everyone, or well, to allow everyone to show their support, and was just aiding them, in showing their support and love for, of course, Donald Trump. So he ordered a bunch of MAGA stickers, and he was out there, just giving them out freely. Anytime that he would see a car that might have like an ugly, torn up rainbow sticker, or like some sort of weird flag on it, he'd be like,
Nice.
"Here, you guys can use a nice new sticker. I'm gonna help you out." Now we don't know if any of these people perhaps had any.
By the way, I should go ahead and clarify now for anybody who's listening that it is not vandalism if the sticker can come off cleanly.
Mm-hmm.
If you put a sticker on someone's vehicle and it is capable of coming off easily, it's not vandalism. At most, if you don't stop doing it after the first time and you're caught, it could be considered harassment. That's it.
Mm-hmm. So, for one, obviously, here at the Fake Untitled podcast, we do not advocate for anyone ever getting caught. So, just
or being harassing people.
Also, that too, I guess, whatever. But definitely, we do not advocate for those things. But yeah, if you're feeling heroic, you're feeling heroic.
If you feel like being a good person and helping someone out, and
you might see
cheer,
you see somebody out there, they've got a real old sticker on their car, probably some sort of weird cause they don't even support anymore. You can give them a nice new one, and just be it a friend. Making America an accommodating place for everyone.
Make America great again.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's the what would we call this? The Megasaurus in the room that we're basically just kind of avoiding here because we don't need to talk about it. It's everybody's going to, and we need to wait until there's more information. Obviously, I'm pretty sure you know where I'm at with this. The Iran-Israel thing. There's not a lot to say that hasn't already been said, so best that we just
Well,
watch.
I'll
through
say this
and
one
see.
to clarify, where I am on it, just for in case, I'm sure nobody cares, but just in case. And that's, because I try to be reasonable about these things. And we are considered by Iran to be the great Satan. Israel is called the little Satan. And Iran wants nukes, not just for Israel, but for us. Period. That is their stated goals: is to bring Islam to the West, to conquer us. Period. That's what they want. That's what they're trying to get. And if they get a nuke, the first thing they're going to do is test it out on Israel. After that, they're going to launch those at our bases in the region, and then probably at DC. They'll find a way to smuggle one in. My guess also is that they're probably not going to start with a full nuclear bomb if they do end up getting enough fissile material. They'll probably just go for a dirty bomb, because that would have us scrambling. That would truly be a problem for us. If they haven't realized that yet, good. But my guess is that someone over there has had the wherewithal to see that would be our major issue, is a dirty bomb in New York.
Well, it would.
Actually, that was the basis of a George Clooney movie. was the idea of dropping a dirty bomb in a populated area as a terrorist act against the United States. But yeah, it's not a terrible thing that Israel decided to do that on their own. That's their idea of doing stuff. That's fine. I don't recommend that they push that further, but I'm not in charge.
And my thoughts on the matter are, we had scheduled talks, and it looks like we might have been making historic progress in those talks.
Now, here's something I did see.
Here's
something I did see is that they did not go after Khomeini, and the reason they didn't is that Trump vetoed that decision. So,
well, Trump's vetoed everything public, which I very much appreciate.
So that's a good thing.
Just as a little bit of, since we're on it, there's a couple of points that I know aren't going to get adequate reporting. Since we're here, might as well discuss it. And
they're not using hypersonics, by the way. That's a good thing too.
Well,
they may have deployed some, but the video, the one video of a rocket or a missile rather reaching the ground in Tel Aviv was not hypersonic, and so it was just a standard subsonic ballistic. There are hypersonic ballistics, but then there's also the hypersonic weapons platforms that China provided. And while a couple of those missiles may have been used in the attack, none of them reached the ground, at least on video.
Now that said, today there have been quite a few more hits too. So again,
yes, this is as of last night, not as of today. So
reporting on a lot of this is that
we'll be waiting and seeing for a lot of it. I think
information that you really want on this, and you can get every single take from every single side that you want. There's not a lot that Craig or myself are really going to be able to add to this conversation, other than just our own personal thoughts.
Well, I was going to add in there, like I said, that they have some HGVs of China origin. They have used some of them in their attack. None of them were reaching the ground. They were taken out in higher up altitude. Sorry, not higher altitudes. Pre-reentry altitude.
On that note, as a matter of fact, let me. I'll get to the other thing I was going to say first, but I'll get to the other thing in a minute. This first is that there is one specific video that's absolutely fascinating and could indicate a nuclear interceptor, which would have been used for one of the big boy missiles that would have been launched. And from what we understand, Iran may have big boy missiles. And so, if such,
they have some Russian-provided ICBM platforms,
right? That might have had a nuclear payload. That is to say.
Well, there's one missile that was clearly pre-reentry that got taken out,
and it's a cool video. you get to see an interesting kind of a blue corona effect, which
that's likely due to particulates re-entering the
maybe,
atmosphere and burning up.
maybe.
It's not like that's. Well, so here's the thing: is if it was nuclear, it would not have a nice blue glow like that.
It kind of does actually, because there is video of an exo-atmospheric nuclear test. Looks very, very similar. So it's possible. Not going to say it is. Not going to say it isn't. Just going to say it's a very interesting thing. I would encourage people to take a look, just for nothing else than your own curiosity, because as we've seen in every one of these more recent conflicts, we're seeing a lot we're not being told about, and we're seeing above and beyond those new technologies. Also, we're seeing new tactics and techniques, like the way that drones are going to be a part of combat going forward, and just everything. It's interesting. But the first point I was going to get to is that Benji made a bunch of calls on Thursday, and most everybody was like, no, you do you. We're not getting involved in this. And it seems like Trump, at least to some degree, did the same, although there's probably some logistics and back-end stuff that America is helping out with on those strikes. And I don't really care for it. I'd rather they resolve it themselves. But that's it. That's what it is. So, whatever. Anywho, moving on.
Oh shit, they see me. I'm in Minecraft doing my thing again.
Uh-oh.
They're there.
Yeah, no worries. Well, anyway, moving on.
It is nighttime.
Moving on. We do actually have a related update. I'd like to see this go nowhere, but we do have a statement today from the office of the president that it is, quote, possible America could get directly involved in Israel's military strikes against Iran and
we don't need to be doing shit with Iran.
No. Let that problem resolve itself. My brother, I appreciate the fuck out of you for being reasonable. No bullshit. We've got our own problems. More than enough of them to deal with. So, anywho. As we had reported earlier, the LA riots basically were absolutely fucking madhouse crazy when they first went down. Then the National Guard got rolled out, as well as federal agents. I believe they rolled out.
So you saw the result of the lawsuit that was coming out of California over that specifically, correct?
Oh, the National Guard one?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we did talk about that. We didn't really go into it with much. So, long and short.
Well, we mentioned it last night, I think in brief, and it was because it was really funny.
Oh, yeah.
Because
if you missed it, we did a fun little stream where we just kind of hang out. So, that is a thing. It does happen every now and then. Every
so often. So what happened was basically there's some faggot in charge of California. Don't know his name, and he was very much annoyed that the National Guard was doing his job. So he wanted him out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And as a part of that, there was a lawsuit, and because he lost that lawsuit, Trump, and I can't remember if it was 30 or 60 days, but it's one of the two. Doesn't matter. It's at least a month.
I think
basically the end result was that Trump said the National Guard is and the National Guard at least is staying there for at least about a month, and Newsom can suck eggs. That fucking retard. It's just, hey man, I like that my state is internationally known for being a piece of shit. Why don't we do that more? God damn, dude.
Yeah, it's and this guy wants to be president. He's got the stones for it. I'll give him that. He's got the stones, and he has the absolute lack of integrity to say anything. So
yeah, he does.
He could be the next Joe Biden, I guess. But
I think Joe Biden is going to be a very unique president in history.
Indeed.
That is like not a small feat to be
Yeah,
basically one of the worst presidents in our country. Like, I think the worst president in our country's history at this point.
that would be a very easily made argument, and it would be an easily defended one too.
Yeah, I'm feeling like he is like up there. I'm pretty sure he's the worst one we've had,
It
and that's really tough. I think to
that's a
hold that
statement.
title.
That really is a statement because we've had some shitty ones. We have had some shitty
Yeah,
ones, but
like
man,
and I gotta tell you, is some of the good work he did, he still ended up doing all the dumb shit with the WMDs. I'll say Bush is up there
oh yeah,
as being one of the
definitely.
truly bad ones.
Yeah, Bush did not do us a whole lot of favors at home
I
or
mean,
abroad.
had we not had 9/11, Bush would have been a pretty mediocre president.
I so much would have preferred him being a mediocre president.
Yeah,
Oh, it would have
and
been
I think
so
that's
nice.
basically he won. I think because we were complacent.
Not
I think
even
that
just
that
that.
that
No, well,
boils.
you've got to remember the time. This is right at the rise of alternate media, and so it didn't have the critical mass it does now to allow things to happen that the system just does not want. And now it can be forced. It can be forced that no, we're actually not going to listen. We're actually just going to do the thing that we feel is the right thing, despite you telling us that our feelings are wrong and that our feelings for all of human evolution as to how we should act in these situations are wrong. We're going to just go ahead and do it anyway. And we are at an interesting time where we're actually seeing that. Not at the levels I'd like to see, but that we're seeing it at all is pretty heartening. Not going to lie. On that very note, from out of left field, literally and figuratively, who? A Cuomo? Chris?
Oh yeah,
What?
we fucking red-pilled Cuomo.
So, long and short, he's asking the right questions. Where are
Oh
we?
man,
So, yeah,
I
he's
fucking
asking,
love it.
where's the money coming from for these LA protests? Who's financing this? That's a
We
fucking
fucking
great
he
question,
said the
Chris.
name. He said the fucking name. He said Neville Singham.
That he did. That he did. I'll
Oh, I
throw a
love
link
that
to
part.
his
I love
section
that
here.
part. He's just like, well, it's Neville's. It's like just goddamn. Say it high and say it loud and proud, and sing that high praise for the right side of things. Just go for it, man. You're almost there. Just at the end of it, say I'm a Trump guy.
Yeah, you know. And with that said, we're gonna make America great again. See you all again
Exactly.
tomorrow night. Phew! You do it, Chris. Go for it. Burn it down, as it were. Set it on fire. Oh, also, just speaking of setting it on fire, Newsom has been throwing a fucking fit over this shit. Like, he has been posting the cringiest fucking memes I have ever seen. Some of them are
He's mad.
oh, yeah. My personal favorite, the Stephen Miller gargoyle.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make a point of including that because it's so good. It's like...
So, this is a guy who wants to be president.
Yeah.
He thinks that all the shit he was doing before made him look good. He's leaving the door open for Kamala Harris to come in 2026 and take the governorship from him so that he can get on the campaign trail. So that's why she's largely shutting the fuck up, and he is largely keeping his mouth open.
There is a saying that there's no such thing as bad PR, or that even bad PR is good PR.
They figured it out. No, there is.
Yeah, there's a line, actually.
They've gotten some of that figured out now.
Yeah.
Once oh darn. Oh no.
Well, on that one, just a real quick, we reported on this last week, but it's official. The boss hog, well, he's going to have to get on down the road back to Hazard County. They ain't got room for him in the big city. Not anymore. Old Boss Hog is out of the DNC, and it is official.
Why is that? Oh, he's white. He just realized it, too.
Actually, the funniest part isn't that he's white.
And also,
because we've
also
gotten
they said he's
some...
not a woman.
Well, no, even better. Even better is that we got leaked audio from the meetings where the current head...
I wish there would have been a fly on the wall for that shit.
You can only imagine, because you can actually hear the guy that's talking to him. It's like, David, we want you in here, buddy. We do, but you know, you're... Well, to paraphrase, you're fucking it for us. And that would be me talking. He, however, you know, he said it in all the mealy weasel words and everything, and you can... The wildest shit.
You can probably feel your testosterone lowering while you listen to him.
Okay, figuratively, yes, but literally, you can hear his voice starting to shake and crack at the end. He is getting upset that he has to tell this to David Hogg. How far have you motherfuckers fallen? That your top man, your top guy,
his guy,
your dude, is breaking down that he can't let David Hogg spend all the party's money to literally tear the party apart. I would love to let you tear the party apart, David. But I can't do it, buddy. I'm fucking
I can't quit you.
Like, how fucked?
It's pure Brokeback vibes, man.
Oh, buck broken. Completely buck broken. So, back to something we did talk about for just a moment. And unfortunately, we don't really have enough to talk to on depth. That's Bilderberg. So, we do have this year's, not minutes, but the topics for this year that are meant to be discussed. That's basically all we got. And as we go along, if I can get some more information on Bilderberg, I'm going to report on it because it's interesting, it's noteworthy, and it falls through the cracks a lot every year. So, the list as it stands for this year: transatlantic relationship, Ukraine, U.S. economy, Europe, Middle East, authoritarian axis, defense, innovation, and resilience, AI, deterrence, and national security, proliferation, geopolitics of energy and critical memories, depopulation, and migration. That's an interesting last topic.
Oh, what was that again? Let's go ahead and just repeat it for the rest of the class.
Depopulation and migration.
Depopulation, not as in THE, the population. Or the population.
No, not the. No, sorry. DE.
Oh, no, not the.
As in remove and take away.
Okay. So depopulation, as in
and
the
migration.
letter D, the letter E, DE population.
Yeah. And migration. Not really separate topics.
And migration. Okay.
Tied there.
A combined topic.
Yeah.
As you. Okay.
You know, it's.
So just to clarify, just to be clear, the removal of population. The removal of population and migration.
It would look like that. I mean,
so that's I believe that falls under a term that's been abused maliciously recently, genocide, right? I think that's genocide.
Yeah, I have heard of that.
Or
you know, is that like a thing when an indigenous population of a place is like destroyed or whatever? Through whatever means.
I think that's the case.
Like, I don't know. Just to throw out an example that is obviously not based in reality, we'll say that there's an island, and we'll call it Shireland, where the Shire is, and the people of Shireland, you know, the natives, they're being displaced. You know, the people of the Shire, we'll say
because they dance really funny. They dance really funnily.
The hobbits of Shireland are being replaced. You know, we've got. The organization of George Sorosman. That's see, I can be modern and topical. So we've got George Sorosman. That you know,
that sounds like a Digimon.
You know, I don't know why you wouldn't want orcs and their wonderful, deep, long-standing cultural traditions as a part of your shire. So we
In
brought in
Showlinks.
all these wonderful orcs to share their culture with you.
I see.
So, just theoretical.
In Shireland.
Yeah, in Shireland. We live in weird times. We live in very
Yeah, we
weird
do.
times. But they are entertaining times, and they are interesting times. For all that that's worth.
There's, there's occasion to not live in such interesting times.
There is. We don't have that. But guess what?
Unfortunate.
Guess what, everybody?
Oh, tell me. Something else is interesting.
I will.
Time.
I'm going to tell you about the...
Oh,
I know you've heard about the circuses, but sir, have you tried the bread?
I'm in my seat, man.
Have you tried the bread, sir? It's very good bread. Coming on June 29th
I can have a little mash.
on American Movie Classic Channel and AMC Plus. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea prequel. Nautilus.
Why?
It looks very good.
Okay.
Visually.
Is it?
Visually, yes. Now,
it could be
I'd like
confused
to,
with a good movie. Is one of those really ringing endorsements, man.
So, as we all know, the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea has the most perfect representation of Nemo ever in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I'm sorry, but
Period. That is the best Nemo that has ever, to this day, been...
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen had an amazing Nemo. I actually really liked that.
Right on it. That's the soul of Nemo, as he is from the books, even.
Yeah.
Not quite. It's cinematified.
And Ishmael. Ishmael is very much a complex character, and they did a really good job with him.
Yeah, it's solid. It's good storytelling. He's a really interesting guy. He's got a keen mind. Well, that's the past.
What? Too Middle Eastern?
Yeah.
Guy named Ishmael?
Well, no, Ishmael will make his appearance, but you see, there's
not Nemo.
Oh no, Nemo's there. Nemo's there. He is the captain of the ship, of course.
Of course. Better damn well be.
Only. You see, the British, well, they've got these problems on the high seas, and so they've built this thing that's going to solve all their problems.
Hell.
But along comes this convicted criminal man, and well, he steals it away from him. This thieving Indian named Nemo, and his plucky white woman sidekick, who, don't worry, she knows what's up, and she is there to make sure that he gets the job done.
Of course.
I am not fucking with you. We've got every single aspect is there. They've made it, and you can see it. You can just see it. They might not do the woman thing, but he does have a plucky white woman friend. And it looks like she's going to save everything.
It looks like she's going to know best? Is that what you're saying? Is that what we're going to get here?
It looks like she don't need no man.
Oh
not no Nemo. Not no Nautilus. So, be on the lookout for that at June 29th on AMC.
It's fucking irate. That's what that makes me. Irate.
Mm-hmm. And on that specific note, I've got something here from a man by the name of Lewis Brackpool, which confirms much of what we have basically all surmised this whole fucking time. He got himself, by way of Freedom of Information requests, some BBC documents. I'll just go ahead and read his post here and include a link to his video. It's about 16 minutes. Totally worth a watch. Anyway, I've obtained internal government documents via a Freedom of Information request that reveal a coordinated effort by the UK government to influence the content of television programming, including fictional storylines. Documents show direct collaboration between the
I'll do
Department for
that.
Culture, Media, and Sport broadcasters like ITV, Channel 4, and the BBC. Officials discussed embedding government messaging in soap operas and entertainment shows, not just on COVID
Right.
and vaccines, but also climate change, mental health, extremism, and, quote, social cohesion.
Oh, we knew all that.
Mm-hmm. Broadcasters were encouraged to tailor narratives for, quote, hard-to-reach, unquote, audiences, including, who you know, of course, oh, you're going to love it, including ethnic minorities, young people, and working-class viewers. Did you wonder why Victoria was black, perhaps? Maybe?
Oh.
Some
I didn't
programmers
wonder.
were
I
rebranded.
was certain about that.
Some programs were rebranded entirely to align with government campaigns. Others included plot lines shaped by civil servants. And now it's out there. So I'll include that for everyone to go ahead and take a look. And yeah, that's that one's neutral leaning to good because it's bad news, but it's good news that it's out, and it's out. And you can actually access the data. He's put it up on his Substack, so that's included on the thing. But from there, we've got this one's just a little bit of background stuff that I've heard, and I don't like Benji, but this might be an opportunity because apparently Khomeini reached out to Putin. This is all back channel stuff. I can't verify any of this. This is just like I know a couple people that know a couple people that know a couple people. Can't verify if this is real, but it tracks. Anyway, Khomeini reached out to Putin to see if he would help out with things, and Putin, perhaps, I don't have a for sure on this, reached out to Trump on it, and Trump just said, no, we're not having this discussion. And then Putin comes back and says, you should probably get to the table as quickly as possible before things escalate, because Trump's just going to stay out of it. Which, okay, good for me.
Right.
Honestly, I support that. But also, that means Israel's not going to hold back. Because if there are other nations involved, Israel can kind of take a bit of a back seat and not Gazify fucking Iran. However you feel about that. Whatever. But anyway, things can be different. And without that backing, Israel's just going to have to do their thing, and it's going to be what it is. So, I don't know.
Well, it'd be better if they got it over with, whatever it is they're going to be doing.
And this back and forth,
It's for everyone.
honestly, it's had to happen. I made a statement the other day that totally stand by. Iran and Israel should have had a Cold War, or should be in a Cold War. And all of us should stay out of it, because if such a thing happened, it would have neutralized a lot of the hotheads on both sides. Because they're going to be like, look, they got problems, we got problems, we got problems.
Here's the deal, though. You're talking about, so Iran, they,
I know their state.
what I really don't want to see is Russia feed the beast until it's big enough to bite. Because when Russia comes crying to us over this, and Russia and China can't control Iran, and Pakistan decides to hop on board the crazy train, like, Iran's not going to be like Pakistan when it comes to nukes. It's just not. They really, I want 1970s Iran to come back. That's what I want.
The worst thing that ever happened to Iran was the deposition of the Shah.
Yeah. I mean, look, there were Muslims there. There were Muslims there, but it wasn't a fucking totalitarian dictatorship.
It was very much like
it was a modern country.
Like Turkey is now, right now. I mean,
sure.
Which is not to say that Turkey.
And Turkey has its problems,
and it does, and it's not perfect, but it's the most modern.
It's the most modern Turkey has been.
Well, no, not even that. It's the most modern Muslim nation that functions in the world of today as a player that exists.
Sure. I'd say Saudi Arabia is a close second. That's largely because they still like us.
Yeah, that's personal. That's just a U.S. Saudi thing. Because Saudi gets up to They get up to shit. They do.
They get up to
just
dumb shit.
plain
They
and don't
have the
get up to shit
Wahhabis.
with us anymore.
Well, the thing is, they have the Wahhabis, but they're afraid of them. The Sultanate is afraid of the Wahhabis completely. They're not gonna. So the truly fanatical people in Saudi Arabia are at the bottom of the social hierarchy,
As they
so they're
should be.
easier to control. Because then all you have to do is hint that you're going to modernize Saudi Arabia, and they show a bitch fit, but they can't do anything. And to be fair, they've been able to do significant progress towards modern society, like giving women the right to walk down the street and drive.
Oh yeah, no, big credit to MBS. That man
Yeah,
he has moved Islam as a whole forward 100 years at least in the last
at
20.
least.
In the last
I
two
mean, I
decades.
gotta say, the guy has not only got balls, he's got brains.
Now, does he have baggage and skeletons? Yep.
Yes, he does. Oh, yes, he does.
Sorry, people. We live in the modern world. We've
Well,
got
it's one of those things where you gotta pick and choose your battles, and like if you can pick all of Saudi Arabia doing better, or you can pick giving him his comeuppance. That's what it boils down to.
Sometimes you gotta turn a blind eye to some bad shit. Because
And then you have to turn a blind eye. You can write it down and come back later.
You can. And there are people that say, that we live in a fallen world and that events of the not far past basically set us on a dark path. Well, if that's the case, we're still fucking here. We still gotta live. We still gotta make something of it. So maybe we can shine some fucking lights into the darkness, Maybe someday we can drive away that darkness. Maybe.
Well,
try.
Women can now. Yeah.
So.
Oh, that was terrible. I'll own that. That was really bad.
Well, no. Hold on. Where's the thing?
Oh, man.
I've got. If I can find it real quick. Oh yeah, here we go. Not specifically the one, because I got something from Anna Paulina Luna that she did recently that was really cool, and I can't find it. So
Anna, she does really good shit. I like her.
Yeah, she's been up to.
She said some dumb shit too, but she's genuinely a good politician, which is really should be an insult, but she's doing okay.
Yeah, she's one of the good ones.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna trust her with my life, but I'll trust her with like my state for a little while.
Tax dollars, Yeah.
Yeah, she's a person who I think would not immediately and deliberately waste my money.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, while she's a politician, and I think that inherently she's there to spend my money, I think she's not going to waste it outright.
Yeah, kind of
okay. At least not with like a reason.
Well, you can't say. I wouldn't go so far as to issue the compliment I was about to, but yeah, it is possible that she might do something good, just entirely out of the goodness of her heart. But you never know. Speaking of something good you could do out of the kindness of your heart, I should probably just mention this because a lot of people have forgotten this fun fact of U.S. Code 1481, subsection A7, which holds no
everyone knows
limitations
all about that
and has no time limit. You see, that part of the U.S. Code for naturalized citizens.
Oh yes.
There's a thing that can happen when you do two things. The thing that can happen is that you can have your citizenship revoked as a naturalized citizen.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. If you do what? Participate in an insurrection or a rebellion. And depending on how certain events are viewed, something might just be an insurrection. I saw a whole bunch of insurrectors at the White House on the 13th. They were insurrecting all over the place. They were
Yeah,
insurrected up the.
so speaking of people who might be doing insurrection,
Hmm.
I'm hoping that a specific dipshit in L.A. finds himself at a specific end of a specific investigation.
A man of Turkish heritage or a roach, perhaps? Roachish heritage?
Yeah, I'm thinking. You ever seen the movie Mimic?
I'm familiar. I'm familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, they actually made a little series out of that where they had there's a few movies. But yeah, I'm thinking that a certain arthropodic person.
Or how about let's
But,
go deep. Let's go deep. Um, this is going to be a good one, but
that's
it's
what
the
she said.
only
Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
It is actually. This is
I
exactly
had
what
to.
she said. She said these exact words. So listen carefully. If you'll
All
now
right.
this one's
Or
for millennials and Gen Xers
Platinum rocked on Nick too.
because if you get this and you fall outside those demographics, leave a comment. Actually, for real. So, um,
Yeah, let us know.
this I think you're gonna get. I'm pretty sure you will because you're enough of a media guy from the same era as I am. But this is one of Joe's friends from Joe's apartment. He actually lived with Joe.
Mm-hmm.
No, nothing.
Oh, I'm like halfway into a sneeze. Sorry.
No. Okay, no worries. Anyway,
Ugh.
if you get the reference, leave the appropriate emoji in the comments.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah.
I
So
never read the comments, so this is gonna leave me as a bit of a disadvantage here.
and it will encourage people to leave them. So
Yeah,
that said,
tell me how terrible I'm doing.
yeah, me too. And that said, share the link.
So I cannot read it.
Don't worry, I'll read it
Sorry.
to him. So yeah, make sure and but for real though, leave your comments wherever you happen to be watching or listening to our show. Like, subscribe, whatever you can do to help us out. This is a good year for us. We're actually seeing
Call him a
growth.
faggot for saying that.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I had to. Principal, whatnot.
Yeah, and I remember it is totally cool to call people retards now. So do that.
And faggot.
Yeah, you can
I
even
am
like
not. I am dying on the hill.
if you're feeling like really bold, you should call them a retarded faggot. But only if you're feeling
Yeah,
particularly
give him the one
bold.
two. Give him the 1-2 and make sure that you tell him that you're slapping him with your cock.
Possible. Now there's another, but we're not there yet. Normalization takes steps, so it's
What, Ginger?
yeah. Well, I was gonna say it's gonna be time to build towers soon, but it's not. That time isn't now.
Oh, pronouns. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, pronouns. Exactly that. Exactly that. Nothing else. I made no other inferences or anything.
No, you're talking about Steve's pronouns.
There you go. There you go. So, bit of an update. Another one. Not
Yeah.
much to it because we'll have to see what all the charges are that comes down. But on our
Why
last
doesn't
show,
Minecraft let me store steaks in bookshelves? This is just inappropriate.
yeah. Well, it's not coded that way. So the fella that was attending the initial. Did we get to report on this one? I swear I think we did. The one guy that was in like a motorcycle helmet that was throwing rocks at the ice vehicles that were leaving one
Right.
particular bust and was like busting out the windows and really fucking up a bunch of cars. Anyway, they found him and he's going to be facing a number of charges.
Good.
Absolutely.
Fuck them.
Totally. Now, another interesting one out of here is this isn't really good news. It's good news that it's done, but at one of these last ones is actually from the 10th. There was an active duty Navy JAG officer that was.
Oh, that dipshit. That was fucking funny.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Anyway,
continue.
I don't think he is active duty JAG anymore.
Good. He was really stupid. He was really stupid. This genius, this Mensa member decided to spout off as an active duty service member. Decided to spout his mouth off. Like, you know what? You can go.
So, So
You
Benny,
can go ahead and you can go ahead and have that conversation with yourself in the brig. It's
yep.
just
So
wild that he's
let me just quote old Benny here. Benny at Learned Politic, which you may or may not
yeah,
be able to find anymore. I'm hearing tell it may
right.
have been deactivated, but who can say? Anyway, Mr. Benjamin France, aka Benny, had this to say on my birthday. Can you believe it? The disrespect to say something like this on my birthday to other people. Anyhow, on the June 7th, he said that, and we will hunt down every J6 and ICE
I like the
agent
we part of
again.
that.
Will you now? Will you now, Mr. France?
We.
So, Mr. France joined the.
No longer service member friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he swore his oath to the Navy judge
Oh,
one year ago.
Excuse me. Sorry.
And it would look like that, well, he's not going to have to worry about that so much anymore. So let me see here.
Oh, well,
We've got no specific
sucks to be
updates yet
sucky.
as to his current status, but it's also not Monday morning. So be keeping an eye on it and see what happens with old Benny France. See if things work out well for him. Maybe that, maybe he'll have a nice, comfortable life, or maybe more information will come out about him, and he might end up like a certain felon with.
I got a feeling there's going to be a court martial involved, and good. That's what I'm. That's the kind of the justice that we need to see happen.
Indeed.
Is a court martial.
Indeed. So, as we're getting a little long in the tooth, and the show's running towards the later hours, and I know my man Craig here got to get some sleep, so let's go ahead and bust out some good news to roll around to the end. Alrighty. So out of Texas, we got a new law that'll be signed. Governor Abbott said he's going to be signing it, presumably as of Monday morning. And what this law does is it bans taxpayer dollars from being used to bail out any criminal, including those arrested for protesting, including also NGO money.
Good.
That has been
How
sourced.
the fuck was this not a law?
Right? Well, thankfully, it is now or is about to be. So there's your number one. That one's out of Texas. And then nextly, this one is out of, actually out of Texas, and I think Mexico as well. But there was Operation Soteria Shield, or Soteria, I don't know, my Mexican or Latin or whatever is not Latin. My Latin's even worse. Excuse me, it's been since high school. It is what it is. Anyway, 244 child predators were arrested in Operation Soteria Shield. 200 individuals on charges related to children's sex crimes, and best part of this news, 109 children rescued.
Very good.
I've heard about nothing. I've heard basically nothing, even from noteworthy right-wing news sources. Like, I got this from libs of TikTok.
Yeah.
Like, I should be hearing about this on Fox News.
This should be every fucking.
What a great piece of news. Like, we're actually.
Well, I'll say this: you're hearing it here.
Good. Well, hey,
this is actually one of the things I was hoping you were going to be bringing up. And I'm glad we did. Glad we got it.
Well, we do like to have good news when we got good news. So this one isn't. This one, not specifically good news. Good news that a bad man went away, but descriptive of the ways that things are. So this one's out of Patrick Webb, who very good follow, good breaking news source. Anyway, USAID contractor Roderick Watson, who could that be? You'll find out. As well as 3 corporate executives have pled guilty to a decade-long bribery scheme involving, at a minimum, 14 contracts, also at a minimum of at least $550 million of U.S. taxpayer funds. The DOJ has confirmed. So, they've pled guilty.
Fuck 'em.
Let's see what happens. I'll be hoping for good result. And honestly,
well, yeah.
They're caught. They're going away. The money, well, the money's probably gone. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But hey, much like dead men telling no tales, at least they can't steal from anyone else anymore. At least for now.
That's fair.
So, you take what you can get. Now, what was another... I've actually got a couple of really good bits of news here. I want to include one thing that's, in and of itself, it's not... It's actually a post from Elijah Schaefer where he's got some video of a bunch of Mexicans protesting in L.A., but the imagery of it is so perfect. The juxtaposition, it's magical. It's like that Time cover of the Syrian woman with the super piercing eyes. It's like that. And what you've got is a bunch of fucking Mexican people waving their flags and with the fuck eyes and just fuck Donald Trump, fuck Donald Trump, fuck Donald Trump. And you've got this black guy that's just down and out on the ground, obviously a homeless guy, might be an addict, might not, skinny as a fucking rail. They're walking right around him. Not one person other than the fucking cameraman bothers to even look at this guy. They don't even look down at this homeless man.
Oof.
How flawless an image of what this is really about. Could you ask?
That's like that the one out of Vietnam with the woman, not woman, the kid on fire.
It is. It's like
that's brutal.
It is. It's that kind of like in your guts,
that's
kind of uncomfortable.
In your face. Yeah.
Like ugh. How can you do this? Ugh. But yeah, there we are. It just so perfectly encapsulates who and what these people are. If Mexico's so fucking great, But anyway, we're closing with good news, not ugliness and bad news. So, as a pretty cool story for the end of the night, we've got one also involving Mexico, but you know what we get to say this time? Fuck USA! Eat shit! Chinga tu madre! So.
Oh, that's disgusting.
You say
I don't
that
want to
to
sleep
them.
with my mother.
No, to them. As
I don't
in,
want to sleep
hey,
with my
you.
mother, though.
What you don't. A cheese. Whatever. Trust me. Anyway, Mexico can eat
I got
a
a
dick.
Latin girlfriend. I understand.
Well, then you know. Anyway.
That's why I made the joke.
Yeah, no, good stuff, actually. But that said, there's been an ongoing suit, which we've been covering as it's been going. It's the Smith & Wesson versus
oh, yes.
actually quite a few Mexican institutions as well as state institutions. Well, guess what? SCOTUS just came down and knocked that hammer. Fuck you, Mexico. We got the PLCAA. What the fuck do you think you're doing? You have no stance to sue an American company for just selling a fucking product. Please fuck off. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Fuck right off back to your cartel-infested shithole. So, in 2021, this case was brought basically kind of from the tippity-tip-top as high up as they could go. Like, let me see. Yeah, it was actually out of the Mexican government. Basically, I can't say for sure, but at the time that we reported on it, it looked like there might be some government involvement with Biden's DOJ, potentially, kind of smoothing things over to allow them to kind of scooch around the PLCAA. And, well, it has come around. By the way, Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act. That was passed in 2005 so that this bullshit can't happen. And it's been held up, basically. To put it in the simplest of terms. It's been utterly rejected 9-0. 9.
Oof.
Katanji said no. That's how bullshit your shit was. Fuck off, Mexico. For ever so many reasons. And with that said, everybody, been a damn pleasure having y'all along. We'll be back again very soon. Was there anything else you wanted to cover?
No, I think we hit the highlights. I should probably start writing shit down if I want to have a cover, shouldn't I?
That's why I keep my own notes. But that's it.
Nah, I think we're good.
Yeah. Anywho, been a pleasure, everybody, having you around. And make sure and tune in again next week. Our live audience, as we can be found when we record, generally Saturday or Sunday nights on Odyssey. And with that said, thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm Evan at That Fake Guy Dan. That's my man Craig at CraigBob99. Missing, unfortunately, because I think he's still out of town and doing
I'm hoping it's just family matters that he's dealing with.
Yeah, well, he's
but,
out of town.
in a good way. In a good way, yeah.
So Steve's out of town. You can find him at Ratman720. He is relatively active on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. If you want to get in touch with him.
When he has a chance. Typically beginning, end of the day.
Mm-hmm. So with that said, everybody, been a pleasure. Do please share the show around as you would. Just anywhere and everywhere. You got somebody you think might be interested, give them the Spotify. We're now, like was telling Craig before we started, we're on YouTube. Strike free. I know, right?
But yeah. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, we're a few weeks
I'm
down.
guessing that eunuch Lucas John Roberts has finally, like, I'm guessing he hasn't dealt with justice yet, but I'm hoping that snow snorting retard stays away from us. I'm guessing all those medical disinformation strikes that we got that were fucking bogus are all gone.
Well, not so much gone, but we waited them out, which sometimes that's what you gotta do. Sometimes
fair enough.
That's just what you gotta do, unfortunately. But we did it.
Yeah.
And here we are. Oh, I found something interesting. The last link that'll be in the I'm not going to go into it so much because
no, go ahead.
Stuff. But the last link in the show links is going to be a list of the corporate entities that are sponsoring No Kings. You'll find it quite fascinating.
Oh, good. Very good.
A lovely bit of after-show reading for everyone. So again,
trivia.
Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you all again very soon. Make sure to like and subscribe. Share it all around, like I said. That's how we get where we're going. And engagement. Really. Leave a comment anywhere, wherever you see it. And with that, ever a pleasure. Be well, be safe, be good in this world that is...
Be gone.
Be gone, also. We will be. But in this world that is ever so entertaining and these times that are, luckily, interesting. We'll see you soon. Be well, peeps.